We're not your classic superheroes. We're not the favorites. We're the other guys.
For Friday, September the 8th, this is Around Midnight with the local boys. You got Todd Fluker.
What name
CJ
are you giving me
Devine.
this week? You come up with a different name each week.
No. I didn't come up with a name, chump. That wasn't me. CJ, and I was going to leave that one alone. I wasn't even going to mention it.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
You brought it up. I wasn't going to mention it. CJ Devine and myself, Joe Carbonetta, and this is Around Midnight. We are the local boys. And a good Friday night to you. Thanks for joining us tonight. Guys, how are you all doing this evening?
I'm actually not that tired right now.
Must be the
tired.
donuts and the Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, that'll do it every time.
I'm sorry, what did you call this drink we're having? It's a, Dr.
Oh.
Pepper?
Shut up, Todd. What?
I've not heard of this delicious...
For those of you who don't know what Todd is talking about right now, you need to watch last week's show, and that will answer a lot of your questions for you.
Was that? I don't even think that was on the show.
pre-show.
Yeah, I think that was
They
pre-show.
gotta get
Was
some
that
behind the
pre-show?
scenes
Yeah.
action
All right,
to
Todd,
get that one.
fill him in then, Todd. Come on.
Oh, Chevelle. I mean, we gotta get jacked up for the show, right?
Right.
Get the energy levels jacked up. So we were having some, what did you say it was, Chevelle?
It's cherry Pepsi.
Cherry. Shut up. Popsy. He was like, seriously took a cup of this drink that everyone has had a million glasses of, and he was like, this is good. And we both looked at him, and I was like, what are you talking about?
That's pretty much how it went down last Friday night.
I don't have it very often, and it tasted unusually good to me.
Before we get too far into this, don't forget that we are live. We're live every Friday night. You can see the shows in perpetuity on YouTube, but we're live on Friday nights, and if
Was
you
he
want
speaking
to
English?
join in on our conversation,
Perpetuity.
oh boy,
Purple Nativity.
if you if you want to join in on the conversation, give us a call at area code 951-356-6882. That's 951-356-6882. I love that, Todd. I love the way you are using the high-tech pointing device there. Again, having flashbacks to the
Called
old
my
show.
finger.
That's not the first time you've given it either. A lot of times you can't
That's good.
see it
Good
on
stuff.
this angle, but I get it quite frequently. Thanks, Todd. Really, I appreciate that. All right, so we've got a lot of stuff going on this evening, and there's plenty to talk about. We got to open this up, though. I mean, seriously, I can't not start off the show with all of the stuff that's been going on in the government right now, and that means it's time for
Trump in the news.
This is probably going to be one of the easiest news years ever.
Seriously.
For the next 4 years.
Easy.
Well, if he makes it.
It is the best part about doing this show is we'll never have a shortage of material as long as that guy's in the White House.
Yeah, as long as we don't get nuked, it's great.
Well, there's always that.
That's up there up for discussion this evening too. But starting off, of course, we have to talk about Trump and his decision to eliminate DACA.
Who?
DACA is the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals.
What?
That's the program that basically it doesn't, it's commonly labeled as granting amnesty to illegal immigrant children, but that's actually not what it is. It's sort of a temporary work permit is closer to what it is. It basically says that we're going to allow you to stay, get educated, even you'll have a work permit, but it's really only good for a finite period of time.
How long?
At this point, it's now 2 years. You can, if you renewed just after the announcement was made that the program was ending, you could get a 2-year extension. After that, you're going to be out of luck.
Yeah, I pulled up the website. You want to go ahead and look at it on the screen? DACA.
Go ahead and look at it on the screen.
You have the thing here? I put it up on the.
Oh
the screen
yeah,
for
well
everyone.
now it just popped. You got to remember we have that 10-second
Yeah, it's
delay.
a little bit of a latency,
Yeah.
but you know.
No, that's Dokken. That's a little different. That's a rock group.
Yeah, no, that's the same thing, right?
No,
that's
no,
what we're
that's-
talking about. A band
No.
from the '80s.
No, that's totally not the same thing, Todd.
What?
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right.
Although that is equally good at killing dreams.
I thought Trump was really into metal.
Anyway, so yeah, he's done away with that. I'm kind of curious to know what you guys think of that. Oh, and I love his out on this, by the way, is that he basically said that he felt that because DACA was that came into being by executive order of the president, that he was overreaching his authority, and so he decided to cut the program out, but said, I'm going to give it 6 months, and in this 6 months, Congress can do something and actually make it a legal, real program.
Okay, so what's your thoughts on that?
He basically just passed the buck, is what he did. He dropped it off.
I don't
on
think
somebody
that's
else's.
passing the buck. I think that actually is a very smart move. Because if you just, and I do agree that it is overstepping president's bounds. I'm not a huge fan of the way that presidents have more and more and more just been passing these, what do they call them?
Executive
orders.
Yeah.
It's basically bypassing the people by eliminating Congress, eliminating.
Well, and to that end, Congress had already said they weren't interested in the DACA program, and that's when Obama signed an executive order and put it into being unilaterally.
I think that that's probably a reasonable way to handle it. What I would not appreciate is if he then goes and turns around and starts issuing a bunch of executive orders. I'm always a big
Hasn't
fan
he already
of,
done that?
Yeah, I was
he
going to say.
has. I mean, well, I don't know if you want to call a tweet an executive order, but
He would.
He definitely throws stuff at the wall and tries to see what sticks. And since poop sticks, a lot of it is sticking. So we'll see
Okay.
how that plays out. But I think that's a smart way to do it. I can't knock him for throwing it back to Congress, because what that does is it puts them in the hot seat and says, if you guys are serious, you're going to sit here and give me all this crap because I'm trying to do stuff, you do it. And then if they don't do it,
Well,
and,
now
I
it'll
mean,
be
how can it be on
interesting-
him? Because it's not his policy.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because there has been a lot of speculation that actually throwing all of those people out of the country will result in severe economic turbulence for us in years
for
to
sure.
come.
I've always thought that.
So, and to that end, I say, Trump just passed the buck because he's basically put the ball in their lap and said, okay, sink or swim, it's going to be your fault either way. I'm out of this.
Yep. And I think that's fair.
How can
It's
he
not
say
uncommon.
that's
I think
fair? How can
well,
he,
the only reason
why
why
did
this
he
is-
do that in the first place if he believes it has merits, if he's not saying it's bad and he wants to get rid of it
Because it's not a
specifically?
law. If you really are serious, if you're really serious about it and you want to put funds or something behind it, it does need to be a law. It does need to go into Congress and say, if you believe this is a thing, you need to put your money where your mouth is, put it into a budget, finance it, and make it a reality. Otherwise, get serious about immigration. And that's my only thing. I think that America needs to be serious about immigration. I don't want to deport a whole bunch of people. I don't want to see, because I have friends that are here illegally. I have friends who came here as children because their parents came here illegally, fleeing some serious circumstances, because we were down there blowing up their countries in the 80s. We know Iran, Contra, and all that other stuff. So, I mean, I don't want to just send them back. They've been here their entire lives. They're going to go back there to, like, how would you want to go back to, like, Venezuela or Peru right
Well,
now?
I'm going to go on the record as saying I'm not really thrilled with him just canceling the program. Okay, there's the legal idea behind it, but I'm thinking rather than play this. It's basically a game of chicken, political chicken.
I don't think it's chicken. I think it's chess.
Because he's dropped it. Well, okay, you can look at it as chess. I say it's chicken. I think what he should have done is say, okay, Congress, you guys need to figure out which way you want to go on this before I pull the plug on this program.
Well, he gave him 6 months. That's what he did. So now the ball is in their court. It's still
And
active
if they
for
drop
6
the
more
ball,
months.
these
Then
people are
it's
just
on
out of
them.
luck.
Well, but that's not his fault, because again, this is not his policy.
Kelly says he's
And in
trying
fact-
to overturn anything that Obama had.
You know, and
his
there
But
is,
hands on.
and-
there is that opinion by a lot of people is that it's basically just a game of whatever you did, I'm going to undo because I'm better than you.
But the same thing was actually said about Obama, because he overturned a bunch of Bush's stuff. when he became president, Bush passed a lot of executive orders. Obama modified and changed a bunch of those and passed a bunch of his own. In fact, I think Obama did more executive orders than any president prior to him.
So basically what we...
Because he could not get anything done.
And then Trump beat that record in the first
No, I don't
10
think he's beat
days?
it yet, but he's definitely pushing for it.
So
I'll tell you
basically
that.
what we're saying is that this is just the biggest sandbox you've ever seen, and we've got a whole bunch of little kindergartners running the country.
He's like, I'm taking my ball and going
home, yes.
Well, I think the same thing that happened with the presidency needs to happen with Congress, in that there needs to be an upset to the party line stuff, because simple things are not being dealt with. Things where it's like a no-brainer. People are dying, but I don't want to help you. And I think we might be touching on that a little bit later on, because it's not in my interest, or I don't want you to get credit for it because I'm a politician from over here, and if I let this happen, then you'll get credit.
Yeah, that
kind
seems
of
to
crap
be
needs
the
to stop.
kind of the point of the executive order, is to bypass all the BS of the system nowadays. It's
But
so
you can't do that forever. At some point, you got to fix the system, because we've been doing that now for at least 12 years. 'Cause
Yeah, it
all
seems
of
like-
Obama's 8 years.
Yeah,
and
it
the
seems
last
like
of
there
Bush's
should
4.
be some way to. Yeah, the executive order shouldn't be just an end-all be-all. There should be a put this in place now, but go back and actually do the groundwork that should have been done in the first place, maybe.
Because I think prior to that, it was used mostly for like national parks and creating monuments and that kind of thing. It wasn't
That sounds
really
about
used
right.
to pass policies.
Yeah.
That was a new thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think that is the way to go, especially because you really do need to finance. If you're talking about immigration, that is a huge part of not just American policy, but American culture. They always like to talk about how this is a nation of immigrants.
It
At least
is.
most people do.
And again,
I think
there's
everybody's
this
saying
discussion
that, but the Native Americans are like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, but the problem is that if you just eliminate all these people, we're going to suffer financially for it, and it seems
I don't think you
short-sighted
can
to me.
eliminate all these people, and I don't. That's the reason. That's the reason why I think what he's doing is smart, because I think people really do have to address this issue, because what they're doing, illegal immigrants are constantly being taken advantage of, and even if they're on the lower rung here in America, it's possible that it's better than where they would be in their own country.
But see, here's the problem with laying it squarely in the lap of Congress. They're the masters of the filibuster. So I can just see
Make a
them
move.
tying their hands on this completely and sitting on them until the 6 months runs out, and then we're really in a bind. Anyway, we got to move
But
on.
then that's their fault.
We got to move on
Real
to the
quick,
next
I
thing.
wanted to see. I just looked up the Wikipedia for executive order, and it said, with the exception of William Henry Harrison, that doesn't even sound like a real president, all presidents beginning with George Washington in 1789 have issued orders that in general terms can be described as executive orders.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Okay. All right. Well, so
Fun facts. We need a
moving
fun fact
on.
sound drop.
So Texas is like
Fun
under a
facts.
mountain of water right now. And that's always interesting coming from a state that has been 5 years in a drought.
Yeah, endless drought.
Yeah, exactly. So they've taken the beating, the proverbial beating that everybody was warning about. And, of course, we've had from California and basically in a lot of different places, we've had emergency teams over there trying to get people out of their homes that were trapped. It's quite a big mess, and they're going to have a massive recovery effort. And I think some of us on the panel even have family that are in that area. So Todd, what have you heard coming out of that?
Well, I do have family. They're actually in Austin, so they've been fine.
Okay.
They've been surprisingly. I've been seeing pictures of my brother's Facebook page. He's actually putting in a new pergola in his backyard. So he's
So you
been
can watch the water
He's
rise.
been
Yeah,
laying
well, I was
down
gonna say,
getting ready
cement.
for his
But
new
does it double as a
beachfront property.
boat? I mean, they can
Laying
flip it
out-
over and use it as a boat in an emergency or something.
He's been laying out lumber and stuff. I don't think they've seen much rain.
Are
in
you sure he's
Austin.
building a pergola or an ark?
Could be.
Oh.
But yeah, I think things are fine there. But yeah, I've been hearing all the stats about this. They're calling a superstorm. It's like the largest tropical storm that the U.S. has seen. It's dropped the most rain that any storm has ever dropped on American soil.
Yeah, to which I can say, can we get a little of that over here? Because we could really use some.
Yeah, I've heard some people dropping the the theory that we should get some trucks over there and start bringing that water over to the other side of the country that we.
That's not a bad idea.
That would be what you call a win-win.
So now, as if that weren't enough, now we go all the way over to the East Coast, and Florida is about to take its own beating, according to most of the weather reports. They've been tracking Hurricane Irma which was a Category 5 storm, but apparently has now dropped to Category 4.
Oh,
but wait.
Good thing it's only a 4.
But wait, there's more, because it's
Let's all
running
go back
into
home, guys.
a large pocket of very warm water, which is expected to spin it back up to a Category 5 just before it makes landfall in Florida. And at this point, the doomsday sayers are predicting something so ferocious that most of the state is potentially under an evacuation order at this point.
Yeah, that's crazy. And if you've been to Florida, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all sand.
I don't.
So I don't know
Sand
how
and
anybody builds anything in Florida.
You remember Sharknado? Is there going to be like Gatornado?
Yeah. No, Hurrigator. Or something like
There you go. Hurrigator. Oh, quick. We got to make the hashtag
Oh my
and
God.
trademark that right now, Hurrigator. I like that. That was good, CJ. So for those of you who don't believe in global warming, how do you answer this one, CJ? I'm just curious.
I don't think you can call it global warming.
What would you call it then?
Here's I don't believe. It's not that I don't believe in global warming. I don't believe it happens.
Let's find the tape of the last show where he
No.
said global warming is not real.
No. Global warming is a phenomenon. It's just not for the reasons that they keep telling people.
So you don't think man has anything to do with maybe
I'm not going to say they don't
this.
have anything to do with it. I don't think they have everything to do with it, which is the narrative that's
okay.
constantly being
I don't
pumped
agree
out
that
there.
we have everything to do with it either. I think it's a naturally occurring phenomenon anyway, but I think that we have accelerated the process probably exponentially.
Yeah, it's a real 1-2 punch. You see this huge storm in Texas, then a gigantic hurricane
But this
hitting
stuff is-
Florida.
it's all
Don't forget
cyclical.
about the
It's all
8.2
cyclical.
earthquake that just hit
Yeah.
At the southern tip of Mexico last night.
I think
but
that's
here's
pretty
the thing.
conclusive. God hates Trump.
No. Or God is all for Trump because he's hitting Mexico, Florida, and Texas.
I'm getting too rough for me.
I don't know.
Tammy says she has parents near Disney in Florida. They said they're not too worried and they probably won't need to evacuate.
Or they probably just don't want her to worry, and they're like, "We're getting the heck up out of here."
Yeah, I think they should probably get out of there,
I
Tammy.
hope they've got an inflatable raft or something
I
somewhere.
think they
'cause-
should have some sandbags on hand.
I think they could just float on political hot air.
Oh, man, that sounds...
Well, anyway, back to global
like the way
warming.
he's, like,
I
trying
just
to
I don't think
gloss
it's
over that
for
real
the
fast.
reasons that people keep saying.
Okay.
Even if it were, my problem with global warming is they're not fighting global warming. They're financing global warming. That's where I have an issue.
Okay. So, now we've got...
Hashtag financing
We've got
global warming.
3 natural disasters in roughly a week, 2 weeks' time. Okay.
But to be fair, we have been saying for years, especially in California, we are way overdue for a disaster.
yeah, that's true.
So to say that this
Get your
is a
earthquake
surprise
insurance
or
now.
that this is different, I don't know that we should go down that route.
All right, well, so 3 natural disasters in the last 2 weeks, and now we move on to one of man-made proportions.
Do we want another fun fact?
Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Let's throw that in there.
A Category 1 hurricane is winds that range from 74 to 95 miles per hour can be expected to produce some minor property damage. Category 2, winds that range from 96 to 110 can be expected to produce extensive property damage. Category 3, winds ranging from 111 to 130, significant property damage. Category 4, winds from 131 to 155, catastrophic damage to property, humans, and animals.
And animals.
I like that differentiation.
All right.
Yeah, they
winds.
attack the property with animals and humans.
Wait, what about...
Cat 5.
All right, here we go.
Winds greater than 155 miles an hour. Catastrophic property damage to humans, animals. Read, you should be nowhere near this storm.
Wow.
All right, so now going on to the man-made disaster, the U.S.
We
ambassador...
just talked about Trump.
That's true. That's true. Wow.
Not good.
Oh, so the U.S. ambassador to the UN went on record as saying that Kim Jong-un is begging, this was a quote, begging for war, and is now urging all the UN nations to enact the strictest possible sanctions against him in a last-ditch effort to avoid the radically horrific destruction of his country and I don't know
And
what collateral
potentially
damage.
ours?
Well, yeah, he might hit the West Coast, in which case, we might all be.
Oh, just
not
those
doing the show
a-holes
next
on the
Friday
West
night, yeah.
Coast. Forget those guys.
Well, that's about all he can reach out and touch right now. And of course, the concern is that he's pursuing a long-range ICBM that at some point would be able to hit the middle of the U.S., and they don't want it to get that far. Yeah, just take out the West Coast. Who the hell cares about California? And, but we got to stop them before they get to the Midwest because Texas has already gotten its butt kicked in a hurricane.
Yeah, it's already knocked down. Everything's...
I think the most dangerous thing about Kim is who else he can pull into his conflicts.
Well, clearly he's trying to pull us into it, and he's doing a darn good job.
Yeah, he's going to try to pull us into it. I know he's definitely going to involve Japan. He's probably there's no way out for South Korea. But if he pulls in like China, that is a definite game changer. Because China
really pisses me off to no end.
I'm not sure if I should be offended.
What did you got to be offended?
I don't know. I feel like I should be offended for somebody. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, it's a definitely game changer because they're China's everybody's largest trade partner. And if we hit North Korea, that is on the border of China. So if we did a nuclear strike in North Korea, there's going to be some blowback in China.
But why would we? Yeah, why would we use such a harsh deterrent?
Dude, we were dropping plutonium on Iran and
what would
Iraq
you have us do?
and
You're going to try and
Afghanistan.
go in and do a surgical strike and just take out Kim Jong-un? You don't think there's a ton of guys
fair,
salivating and
you
taking
have
over
to
his
take
position?
things like that into account. That
I don't know that
China's
we
right
have any
on the
missiles that are
border.
not
They're
nuclear
going
at
to catch
some
some of the freaking nuclear.
But are they
winter.
going to settle for it?
I don't-
And what it's going to do is going to start kind of this. This is just me gassing off the top of my head, but I think that it's going to start. There's definitely, there's discussions going on right now between the U.S. and China, which is scary considering who the president is, both here and in China.
Yeah.
But when you have North Korea in the middle, I'm just wondering what they're talking to China about. I'm also wondering if maybe China is using North Korea as a tool to further distract America because we're already overextended in Afghanistan. We're harassing Pakistan. We're in the Middle East, all over the place. It's a hot
I don't
mess.
know. I don't think even if we wiped North Korea off the map, I don't think China's going to turn around and do something to us.
Oh, they will,
No,
for sure.
They might cut off trade relations, but they're not going to start a war with us. Do you know
They
the
will.
one who
I think
scares
they
me
will.
would be Putin. I can just see Putin using it as an excuse to
Yeah,
start screaming American
He's gonna
imperialism.
ally himself.
Yeah, exactly. And then we might have a problem. Anyway, we got to take a break right now because this. Yeah. Oh, I can talk. I really can.
I don't think you can.
No, maybe I can't. This discussion could go on for forever, but we do have to take a break right now. You are watching Around Midnight with the local boys, Joe Carbonetta, CJ Devine, and Todd Fluker. And we're going to be back right after this. Don't forget we're live. 951-356-6882. The phones are heating up, so please give us a call. And if you get a busy signal, call back. All right? We'll be back right after this. Malibu's film festivals, films, charity events, and special programs continue to evolve in support of the arts in your community. And they'd like your help. They want you to become a sponsor of the Malibu Film Festival. So check out their page and even make a donation at MalibuFilmFestival.com/donate. That's MalibuFilmFestival.com/donate. All right, again, it is Friday, September the 8th. You got the local boys right here. We are live. This is Mixified Radio's Around Midnight. And we've got all kinds of things that we're discussing this evening. Of course, we were talking about the disasters in Texas, the soon-to-be a disaster in Florida, the tragedy that's taken place south of the border in Mexico.
That Florida won't be such a disaster.
Yeah, and the possibility that we could all be vaporized over here on the West Coast thanks to Kim Jong-un. And, you know, I say that jokingly, and yet there's a real seriousness behind that issue. So I'm not really sure why I'm laughing. Maybe it's to keep from crying. Anyway, moving on. What did you guys think about this, by the way, that the Education Secretary, Betsy DeVos, she's decided, and again, going back to what we were talking about before, where it seems like they're just trying to undo everything that the last presidency did, because now it's Republican, and before it was Democratic. She's announced
everything they did was wrong.
Yeah, basically. She's announced that she wants to formally review the entire Obama-era policy that basically had the universities taking a much harder line and a much more serious look in a much more rapid fashion. Any kind of sexual abuse or sexual assault allegations. And so she thinks that it's overstepping the laws that are already in place, and that it's not such a big deal, and kids will just be kids. And I mean, what is up with that?
I think you might be reading too much into that, and I don't think that she's necessarily wrong for that either.
You don't think that that's an issue that should be addressed?
I don't think it's an issue that needs to be addressed at the federal level. I think when a person reports a crime, that's a local issue. I don't need the FBI to come down here and
spoken
review
like a man who has no daughters.
It's not a federal issue. The federal government is already doing way too much. And here's the thing that happens. It happens at every level. It happens at the family level. Anytime any person who is responsible for something passes the buck or abdicates their responsibility.
Isn't the federal government's responsibility to provide for the common good?
No.
No.
I don't think that it is. No. They're supposed to make sure the post office is running my mail on time and that the Army is able to protect me from people like Kim Jong-il. That's really the two things.
Kim Jong-un. And actually, I have to give a nod to Todd, because Todd called us on it last week and we weren't paying attention. We kept saying Kim Jong-il, but it really was Kim Jong-un. Yeah. And Todd was the only one who was on the ball on that. So kudos to you, Todd.
But to be fair, all she's saying is she wants to review it. That's not saying she wants to get rid of it. I will say that
Trump
it's serious.
For it's gone. It's out of here.
Well, but here's the thing: like, how many federal colleges are there?
Are
there any federal colleges outside of the military schools? There are no federal colleges. So when it comes to like military schools, that is definitely an issue that needs to be addressed, because I think there's a lot of sexual misconduct, abuse that happens in the military that goes reported, and when reported goes
Reported?
Punished?
No, unpunished. Yeah, basically.
But when you're talking about, like, if I'm going to, California State University of Podunk, Wisconsin or whatever, I don't need the FBI showing up there.
So you're saying that those people, that civilians, aren't worthy of the same protections?
That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're not worthy of the same protection. I'm saying that if I live in, say, I don't know, Fresno, I want it to be dealt with in Fresno. I don't want to wait for somebody to come from D.C. to deal with my issue.
I don't think
when
it's
I go
just
to the
about,
Fresno PD, I want it to be addressed there.
It's not just about the D.C. people addressing the issue. It's about them putting pressure on the local authorities to handle the situation in a timely and effective manner. I don't think it's the federal
government needs to do that. I think people need to do that. What people need to stop doing is going to cry to the federal government every time the local government doesn't do something, because the people that are in local government end up at federal government, which means the same people that are causing the problem you had at your local level are now running the stuff at the federal level, and they're going to be just as incompetent. You need to address those things directly head on.
I still say this is spoken like a man who has no daughters in the school system.
I wouldn't even say it's limited to daughters. Well, I think there are a lot more men who suffer these things
that get
than are reported.
I think there are a lot of men that get sexually assaulted. I'm not sure that every man considers a sexual assault a sexual assault.
It depends.
Some men would actually probably appreciate the attention.
Because if you are, say, you're a gay male and you're being harassed by a woman, or you're a straight male and you're being harassed by a man, because that prison mentality can take place on a college campus too. And they might call it hazing or whatnot, but it's still a serious issue. All I'm saying is you got to go up the chain, and I don't think that it needs to go straight to the Fed. I think that is the federal government overstepping their bounds. Me personally, I'm not going to wait for any law enforcement agency. If I had a daughter, and I don't even limit it to my daughter, if anything happened to any of my friends' daughters, I'm going to want to address it directly myself.
But that kind of stuff will get you put in jail and
Bro,
maybe face the death
it's going to
penalty.
get handled. It's going to get handled.
All right.
Tammy agrees with you or your earlier comments. Men on college campuses have been demonized for years. Too many fake rape cases. And man, that elicits such a response. The second I read that, I was like, ooh. But that really is something that people have to deal with in this day and age. I remember hearing that there was that Uber driver who was videotaping or audio taping one of his passengers, some girl. He was a guy, and he started taping it because this girl didn't like that he didn't have an iPhone charger or something really dumb for her. And yeah, she started flipping out and being like, I'm going to call the cops and I'm going to tell them you raped me, yada, yada, yada.
And that is a learned behavior.
And people, I
so
feel like my
she
immediate
learned
reaction
that from somebody.
is to side with the victim in the case. But then, yes, it is easy for some people who don't have that moral compass to not ruin a guy's life because they slighted you in whatever way.
This,
and here's
this
the thing.
policy, this Obama-era policy isn't about simply getting swift justice for the victim. It's about a fair and just but expedient investigation of both sides of the situation to get down to the bottom of it and make sure that they find out whether this happened or whether it's somebody like you described who's just got some kind of an axe to grind.
Here's the problem.
Okay.
Once any man has been accused of a rape, it's a done
that can
deal.
stick.
Even if you did nothing.
But that's
it's a
that
done
again, that's
deal.
not the federal government's fault.
So then why is it
Duke
their problem to
lacrosse
come in
team.
here and investigate all this other stuff?
It isn't just about them investigating. It's about them applying the pressure to make sure that somebody
I don't need them to do
investigates
that.
it.
That's a waste of money, in my opinion. There are other things that the federal government can do, like let my mail show up on time.
I don't think we have an issue with that.
They're going to start...
You were just complaining about stuff not
They're gonna
showing up
start
on time.
regulating
That's
Amazon.
not the U.S. mail. That's that's a private company. That's different. Anyway, all right. So moving on and getting into the meat and potatoes of our show this week. We had this conversation going on kind of off to the side, and we've kind of kicked it around for a couple of weeks. We keep meaning to bring it up, and we never managed to get there. Tonight we're bringing it up. CJ, you asked the question, a very poignant one in the middle of a discussion. Is higher education all that it's cracked up to be, and is it really worth it? That kind of plays off what we were talking about last week, which was whether it's more important to be college educated or have some semblance of street smarts, basically to have some common sense. Because it is possible, and we see it all the time, that you get these people that come out of college and they've got these fantastic degrees, and yet they don't seem to know how to put the square peg in the square hole.
Wait, there's a square hole?
Yeah. So anyway,
Nobody had anything for that.
You got to just play a random drop.
I didn't even know what
Just
to
mash
say.
it. Just punch
hit
it.
like 5 or 6 of them at the same time. So anyway, it is an interesting.
I'm just going to come right out and say no, it's not worth it.
You don't believe it's worth it?
Well, it really does depend on what you're going to school for. If you're going for anything outside of an engineering or a medical degree or a law degree or something like that, going to school and getting $69,000, $100,000, $300,000 in debt for your basket weaving underwater degree.
See, and that's interesting that you say that, because I'm beginning to believe that the higher education industry, and I really think it's
definitely an industry,
is a really good racket, because they seem to be inventing degrees for more and more things, like underwater basket weaving. It used to be
there are some very serious ones that you can get a degree in that I believe are basically useless.
It used to be that you could get out of high school and get a pretty decent job, and there used to be 2 ways of making it in life, if you will. You could go through your high school and then move on to higher education and go through college and come out. It was kind of like the tantamount to going through ROTC when you were in school, in high school, because then when you enlisted, you automatically kind of went in with a higher rank. Whereas otherwise, if you didn't go through ROTC, you could still enlist, but you started out at the bottom and had to work your way up. And it was the same deal in the career world. You could go through high school, go to higher education, come out of that and immediately start in some mid-level job, or you could leave high school, go right to work, and work your way up the ladder.
Start in
to
the
same point.
mailroom.
Yeah, basically, and work your way up. Now, it seems as though having a bachelor's is the new
That's
high
entry
school
level.
diploma.
Yeah.
It's I've seen job listings where if you want to flip burgers for X restaurant, you got to have a bachelor's. And I'm thinking, who's going to sit through 4 years of
bachelor's
college?
in flipology?
Yeah. Who's going to sit through 4 years in college and then have that $67,000 loan and then or that debt, then go to work and flip hamburgers? You can't even make enough money to pay off your obligations.
Well, that's exactly what they're going to do, though, because they can't afford to get a better job. They simply won't get a better job, and you can't sit there and do nothing for too long. But a lot of times what they end up doing is going to grad school and acquiring more debt, because that will actually defer your payments on the debt you currently have.
Because you're kicking that can down the road. Kelly says she feels like it's more expected to attend college in the USA. In England, more entry-level jobs seem available, or vocational jobs.
Well, see, and again, that speaks to what used to be a respected path to a career in the U.S. There was a whole set of jobs that you could just walk into out of high school and work your way up the ladder.
Well, I got bad news for you. Those respected jobs now also put you in debt, because they have those. You can go to your. Does ITT still around? Is that a thing?
ITT Tech?
Yeah, I
one
think
of
it
those.
is.
One of those
Yeah, I'm
schools.
sure
just
they are.
had-
There's
got
a bunch
shut
of them in
down.
Florida, but they got all the trade tech schools. There's a LA Trade Tech where you can learn plumbing. All these other schools, and they are not cheap.
No, and again,
They're actually more expensive
this
than a lot
seems
of
to be
these
one
other
of those scenarios.
But
where
you
they're
don't
just
have to go for
inventing
4
degrees.
years.
Well, the thing is, once you go in, you're kind of locked in, because they don't always go for the public financed loans. They go for a lot of private ones, and the private ones are a whole different creature.
Yeah.
Because they have the same rules where you can't avoid them, but they're not bound by the same rules that the federal government is, where you can push them off this way or that way or change your payment structure. You really have to hustle and negotiate. And I actually have a friend who's seriously thinking about defaulting on his loans because he just can't pay it. He's
See,
paying something like $600 a month on student loans.
And
dude.
here's an interesting fact about that is that you can declare bankruptcy and you can shrug off a lot of debt that way. But one of the things you can't get rid of by declaring bankruptcy is a school loan.
yeah,
Student loans, yeah.
That may be the only thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's one of the
Oh,
only
that
things.
and tax frauds and that kind of stuff. That and your taxes.
Yeah.
And
Jashima says graduates working for minimum wage. My Chinese classmate says that going to work is valued over going to college. Learn by doing.
yeah.
Yeah, and somehow we've gotten away from that in this country. It's actually frowned upon now. If you can have a whole lot of experience behind you, and to a prospective employer, some kid fresh out of college with a BA or higher is automatically got the leg up on you, whether he's ever actually lifted a pen to paper and done any real work in his life doesn't matter.
And the sad thing is that all of these kids, all they've learned is that the world owes them something, so they don't want to do any work to begin with. That's kind of the current ilk that's coming out of schools these days. But I will say this one other thing. When you were talking about the education industry, why is it that 4-year degrees are now taking 5 years? Why do you have to take those extra courses that are completely unrelated to the stuff you're doing? That's strictly a financial decision.
I think it's like I said,
Strictly.
higher education has become an excellent racket. It's right up there with healthcare. They figured out how to turn it into a for-profit industry that is just preying upon the masses.
Tammy says certification programs and vocational programs are much better.
Well,
You have a much better chance of getting a job taking half the time.
Well, I agree with you to some extent. I think that you get a lot more useful information. You certainly get a lot more hands-on training. I
Yeah.
don't think it carries the same weight with most prospective employers.
I think it
But that
depends on what it is.
Yeah, it
though.
depends on the job you're going for.
But I'll tell you the other thing that kind of drives this
Uh-huh.
is the insurance industry, because you kind of, or like with government jobs, you have to say, oh, yes, we've got the finance people. They've been trained in this, that, and the other. Because theoretically, if a person's going to school for this, they're supposed to be a better, smarter, safer worker versus if you get somebody who's fresh out. They might cost you more money as an employer because the insurance cost may be more expensive or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Like the liability insurance associated with it. It's a jacked up situation all around. So I'm still saying no, it's not worth it. And there's actually I know a guy who created an online school where you can basically go get a degree for free or significantly less than what it is, and you can actually apply at a school once you've taken all these courses. Because a lot of these schools have their courses online and they're free. Like you can take Yale law classes, Harvard, all of them have all these online programs, and all of the stuff is basically on YouTube. You can take all these classes, take the test in the whole 9 yards, and then go to another school and say, I've done these things, and they basically give you a test to see if you know the material, and boom, you get your degree.
Yeah, but the problem is that you still have to pay that university.
No, you don't.
To take that test, you sure
Well, yeah,
do.
you have to take the test,
And
but it's going to
you end
cost
up-
you $2,000 versus $20,000.
I think it's almost as expensive to just take the test as it was to take
Well,
all
there's
the
only
classes.
a few schools that you can do it at, but it's not as
And
expensive.
are those schools accredited?
Oh, yeah,
because otherwise
absolutely.
it doesn't
They are.
even it doesn't give you any.
They are accredited
traction.
universities.
Textbooks are ridiculous, says
Oh,
Kelly.
yeah, that's the other side of that racket.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing a video, I think it was the TV show Adam Ruins Everything, where he kind of goes through and talks about things that people believe are true and kind of tells you the truth of the matter, or as he sees it. And they were talking about, that most colleges these days have such high prices because of all the amenities. They are offering so much more than just classes. Yeah, they're
got
trying to get
spas
you in
and
there.
super
They
gyms
have
and all that
huge
other stuff.
dorms. They have
Like a
spas.
country
They have all
club.
kinds of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, and that they're adding all that stuff to the tuition. So you're
Okay.
not really just paying for the college courses, which you should be.
Well, that's an interesting perspective. How does that explain how community college prices have gone through the ceiling?
Yeah, that's
Well, they're
textbooks
still
are crazy.
extremely cheap in California by comparison.
Yeah, but that's kind of a relative scale. So
No, it's
Yeah,
cheaper than in some other states. And when you compare it to the cost of living in California, it's a significant difference.
And I remember seeing PCC, Pasadena City College, is actually free for a lot of people.
Yeah, if you graduate from any school, any of the public schools in Pasadena or the college district area, you can go to PCC for free.
for how long? Like half
To
for
get
one
your
semester
degree.
or something?
No, to get your degree.
Really?
You go there for free. You have to do the work. But
Oh, you have to do the work? That's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Hey, wait! Watch that.
Behind the Curtain says we should send Dennis Rodman back to North Korea and give him a free tattoo laced with smallpox.
I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. That's fantastic. He might be our viewer of the month right there.
Where's he coming from? What?
That's
funny.
pretty good.
Dennis Rodman.
I'm going to have to steal that.
Didn't he go to North Korea for a long
Yeah.
time?
He had a picture of him hanging out with Kim Jong-il.
You know what I got to say about that? I would like to ask who was the
Tattoo
caller
laced
that
with
did this?
smallpox.
Behind the Curtain.
Behind the curtain. If you could actually post that on our Facebook page, that would be awesome.
Do a mock-up of Dennis Rodman with this tattoo.
There you go. Yeah, that would be fantastic. You got to put that on.
Does he
there
have
so
any
that
space left
everybody
for a
can see
tattoo?
that you said, this thing that you've said, which is a phenomenal. I'm voting for you for president.
I feel like he's already covered with tattoos. Does he have any space?
He's
Couldn't
pretty
they
covered.
just like rework one he's already had? I mean, do they need to put a fresh one on? Couldn't they just go over one that's already there?
Isn't this some stuff like that Putin used to do? Didn't they say he like poisoned somebody?
Oh
with
yeah,
radiation
Every
and all
time he's
that
got an
whatnot?
enemy that he doesn't like, they
Yeah.
suddenly drop dead from
They,
some kind of poison.
radioactive
end up dead.
Yeah,
thing.
They
yeah,
live
yeah.
a half-life.
He's good at it.
He said a
See, we
half-life.
should take some lessons from him, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, it's already time for another break, man. Time flies when you're having fun here.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. I'm not used to this.
Must be the donuts.
Oh yeah, good call.
See, we're so high on sugar now, we don't even realize that the time is going by. All right, this is Around Midnight with the Local Boys. Please give us a call, 951-356-6882. Hey, Todd, why don't you tell them about how they can reach us on the internets?
I had donuts in my mouth. You can't be coming at me like that. Yeah, give us a call at the phone number that Joe just said.
I just said the phone number. I said tell them about the internets, man.
Or you could kid us on the internets. We're on there. At Mixified on Twitters. Facebook.com/Mixified Radio. And
Don't forget Mixified at gmail.com, and that's Mixafied. Mixified at gmail.com. And by the
you
way,
like how he goes into his VOA at Gmail.
that telephone number is good all the time, so even when we're not on the air, you can call and leave us a message.
Leave us a message.
Right away, get back to us.
Oh, you did it. It's not funny when you do it.
Call CJ. Call him now. 951-356-6882.
Friday.
Be there.
nom, nom,
It's Around Midnight.
All right. Break time.
nom.
All right, Malibu Film Festival's films, charity events, and special programs continue to evolve in support of the arts in your community. And you can help by becoming a sponsor of Malibu Film Festival. Check them out and donate at MalibuFilmFestival.com/donate. That's MalibuFilmFestival.com/donate. Check those guys out. They're some good guys. All right. Again, it is Friday, September the 8th, 2017. This is Mixifieds Around Midnight with the local boys, Todd Fluker, CJ Devine, and myself, of course, Joe Carbonetta. And we're enjoying this Friday night. We hope you are too. We thank you for joining us.
We have some people on the YouTube chat trying to figure out who Dennis Rodman is.
Are you kidding me?
We have a lively chat going on our YouTube page.
That's it. So check us out on the YouTube page. What's the address, Todd? Tell them how to get to us on the internets again.
Well, if they're watching, they're already there.
Yeah, just search YouTube for Around Midnight.
That's true. That's true. If they're already there, well, yeah, okay. All right, you got me on that one. All right, too much donuts and soda. Woo. Anyway, speaking
Give
of
us
which,
a call, 951-356-6882.
but there's no phone number there. There you go. Now we got it. 951-356-6882. He's pointing to a phone number that doesn't exist, and
It's
I'm talking
there.
about going to a page.
He can
I know
see it
it's there
before you
now,
see
but
it.
Wait. Breaking news.
oh, wait. Breaking news.
Wait. Tammy says she met
Dennis
Rodman?
Rodman?
Yeah.
Said
Okay.
she lived in Chi-Town when he was on the Bulls. Whoa, we got to get Tammy to call in and tell us about this.
Yeah, how many holes did he have in his face at the time?
Was he wearing one of those wedding dresses? Didn't he wear wedding dresses
Oh, man,
all the
he
time?
did a lot of.
Yeah, I'm not sure that sending him to take out Kim Jong-un
I don't know,
is the
dude.
best
He did
course
do
of
that
action.
movie with Van Damme.
But see, this is a guy who could be
Double
taken out with a
Impact.
magnet.
Wait, no, not Double Impact.
it was
That was
something like
the one where he was a twin.
Yeah, no, but like I said, this guy could be taken out with a magnet. You know, I mean, that's all he got to get too close. All he got to do is flip on a magnet. He's over there on one side of the room, completely immobilized. Anyway, okay,
Yeah,
so
she says that he's Kim Jong Un's CIA handler.
she is? Tammy is?
No. Dennis Rodman.
Oh, I see. Okay, all right.
She's right.
So wait, they're saying Kim Jong-un is a CIA
No, Dennis Rodman
plant?
is Kim Jong Un's CIA plant.
What did he say?
So the
Bro, I'm just
so
reading
the
it there.
Korean version of the CIA?
No, the CIA sent him there to keep an eye on him. I think they are going to make a smallpox face tattoo. It's going to be pretty dope.
I
He's
think
going
it's
to
a
come up,
great
give
idea.
Kim Jong Un a kiss on the cheek. Psh.
It's gonna be just
He's
like
going to
that-
take him out
take him
Pilgrim
out.
style.
What was that Seth Rogen movie?
Pilgrim style? What?
Yeah, the Pilgrims with
Oh,
the
okay.
smallpox
All
and
right.
blankets.
All right.
You know, gentrification of the entire continent.
So this last topic for discussion has got to be something that should pull Todd right into this. Yeah.
Pulling out?
It's interesting. For more than a decade now, Lego has been atop the pyramid of toys and movies and cartoons
Toys,
when it comes
media.
to children's.
Everything.
Yeah, basically. And for the first time in 13 years, they have now seen a dramatic sales decline. So bad that they're actually looking at laying off 1,400 people before the end of the year.
They have so many ways to access Lego now. Yeah, it seems like they might have spread themselves a little too thin. They have those Lego
She's saying
stores.
the Legos are falling
Appar-
apart.
Yes, the house that Lego built is
Huh?
crumbling now.
Pun Central.
Brick by brick.
There you go.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
There you go. Getting in on that.
Yeah, so... yeah.
Have you been to a Lego store like at?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Like at not City Walk, downtown Disney.
They
you gotta get into
anywhere.
downtown
They
Disney
compete
first.
to
That's
the
what Disney's free.
They
Oh, my
compete
bad.
with
We're not
Disney
the
in
party.
terms of the prices for their products. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I'm shocked at how much it costs to go to their theme
to
park.
Legoland.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
It's
it is pretty pricey. But yeah, those Lego stores, they are vast. And
Yeah,
I
they're pretty
cannot
huge.
imagine how much rent that costs to rent a huge space like that in that prime area, that prime commerce area.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of those stores must be paying through the nose to be in that close proximity to Disneyland.
Well, but you know, and then on top of that, somewhere in there is all the merchandising, because if you go into one of these Lego stores, it isn't just about buying a bunch of generic bricks anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
I mean,
it's a set.
yeah, there's Lego Star Wars, there's Lego Scooby-Doo, there's Lego Ghostbusters.
Lego
there's-
Avengers.
Yeah.
I gotta bust in here.
Lego My Ego.
to,
Oh wait, that's something different.
Wow,
He's
you're really
thinking
on a
food again
pun
already.
roll.
He's already thinking about food again. Well, you're gonna break
Tammy
in?
says, "Please God, make them disappear altogether from my house, so I don't step on them anymore."
in the middle of the night. There's nothing like crunching a bunch of Legos on your bare feet. Yeah, that would ruin your night.
I guess mine's too young. She only has those big chunky Legos.
See, and that's another interesting thing. When I was a kid, there was just Lego, and there weren't a whole lot of sets to begin with, and the bricks kind of only came in the primary colors, and that was it. But now there's these pastel Lego sets
Yeah.
with Barbie themes and things that are specifically targeted toward girls, which, isn't necessarily a bad thing. Inclusion can be wonderful, but
Or not.
maybe they've just kind of saturated the market,
be.
The
I like how he gave it some wiggle room.
well, the last Lego movie to come out didn't really do as well as expected at the box office.
But I think that's not only because of the Lego saturation. I think that's more because of the comic saturation, because it was a Lego Batman movie. And a Batman movie had just come out. The Superman versus Batman movie just came out.
Don't
The
get me
Superman
started
movie
on the
just
whole
came out.
superhero theme. I'm
People
wondering
didn't
how
really
much
like
longer
that
that's
one.
going to
Yeah.
be carrying on.
So, I mean, you got to pick the legacies you
But
wanna
yeah, it's
tail on.
hard. It was hard to compete with the original Lego movie. It was a come out of nowhere blockbuster.
Yeah.
Like they anticipated, I'm sure, that it was going to be good, but not that good.
Well, come on, they had Vitruvius in there.
Who?
Vitruvius.
Oh, yeah. Who's that? Okay.
Oh yeah, just not
Yeah, that sounds
smile and
awesome.
nod.
Yeah. We got a drop for that?
Seriously.
They had like what the 1990s NBA stars in that Lego movie. They had like Dumbledore in that movie.
They had
Will
everything.
Ferrell was in there, of course.
It was really good. It was really good. It was really good. But this last Lego movie was just a Lego movie. I think what it didn't have was the over the top creativeness, because the whole thing their motto is Legos build imagination, right? And I don't think that the Batman movie was that imaginative. They stuck too much to
But it
like
had Will
the
Arnett.
line.
He was hilarious.
Apparently not.
I thought it was pretty good. Wow, Kelly's saying that Legoland, last time she checked, tickets were $109.
Wow.
That was. She's saying that's
Hey,
more
that's-
than Disneyland. Is it?
No,
Yeah,
Disneyland's more
Disneyland is still
expensive.
more than that, right?
Yeah.
They're like 150. Well, it depends, because they have those. Every once in a while you get the if you live in SoCal ticket price, which takes off like 50 cents or something.
Yeah. No, see, the thing about Vitruvius, it was Morgan Freeman who was playing that
Oh,
character.
that's his character?
Yeah, that's Morgan Freeman.
Yeah,
so
he was
Morgan
great.
Freeman was in the first movie. That's what made the first
He
movie
was
so
great.
fantastic.
Like, I see all. Oh, my eyes. That was great. Plus, they had that killer song, Tammy says. Everything is awesome.
and then-
that was.
And then there was the character that reminded
killed
me
it.
of Todd, which was the pirate, the robot pirate. That
was
is
amazing. I like that guy.
Todd. Todd is the
he
robot
rolled
pirate.
it.
in the
He
Lego.
rolled that huge pirate ship.
Yeah, and then
up
they had the
there.
character that was like Joe, the old 1980s spaceman.
That's it. Yeah, spaceship. Ah!
That guy was funny.
Come on,
Yeah.
Todd. Give us a quote. Give us a line as the robot pirate, because we know you can do it.
I was trying to think. I remember he did the assault on. I just love, what was it, the Will Ferrell character? He had all those things.
President
the
business.
glue, president business. Yeah, he had the super glue
Yeah,
and
yeah.
The Craggle.
the
Yeah,
Craggle.
the Craggle. Yeah, crazy glue. Craggle.
If you never saw the original Lego movie, you really need to go check that out.
It was a fun
Yeah.
movie. It was a really fun movie. I think who did the second one? Was it like the same group of people? Because I think they probably just went and pulled a script, threw it at some people, and thought they were going to make some quick bucks.
That's
And they
pretty
probably
much, isn't
still
that pretty
made a
much how the
profit.
Hollywood industry works in general these days.
For me, I find that the best movies are the ones that people. The one example I always give, and I, as a general rule, will go see a movie that I think is going to suck. That way, if it's good, I'm not disappointed. But when I went to see Starship Troopers, I completely expected that movie to be terrible.
Yeah.
And a lot of people
We all
believe it
went
was
to see
terrible.
that together.
But I thought it was amazing.
Yeah. See,
They
great.
really pulled it out of the hat on that.
If there are any Hollywood types watching the show tonight, I'm going to give you a really great tip. You want to start making money at the box office again? Stop rehashing old material. I'm going to tell you a secret that's really not secret. I haven't set foot inside of a movie theater in over 7 years now because I'm not paying $15 to see a movie I saw 15 years ago.
Oh my God!
Good point.
We need to get so many drops from Starship Troopers. Do you want to know more?
yeah,
Oh,
that
that
those are
would
some
be good. Yeah.
Oh, all those
Well, and then the
ones.
other thing that I think people are getting tired of is like movies are getting really preachy, man.
The only good
I
bug's a
just want to
dead
be
bug.
entertained. I don't need you to tell me how to live my life.
I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say, kill them all.
What are you, like a walking encyclopedia of Starship Trooper quotes?
You wanted some quotes. I could come with the Lego quotes.
I know, yeah.
But
I
I'm
wanted
coming
the
in
Lego
hard
pirate.
with the Starship Trooper
He's got
quotes.
every line from Starship Troopers.
Remember,
I
NPH,
even watched the sequels. And they were
NPH
both
was there.
terrible.
He was all like,
Really?
It's scared. Yeah?
That would be good, yeah. You watched the sequels, huh?
Yeah, they were terrible, but I loved them.
Those terrible CG animated ones.
Oh, they were awful. They were
Yeah.
so bad. So bad. But
Okay.
I watched them.
It
Well-
almost made me want to read a book. I was like, there's like
Wow.
a book.
That is saying
Starship
something.
Troopers
Todd
is
wanted
based
to
on a
read
book.
a book.
And then they had the cartoon that was out for a New York Minute. You don't remember that?
Not
That
at
cartoon?
all.
It
Can
was
I
'cause it
make a
wasn't out that long.
confession?
Sure.
I like After Earth. I don't know why people hated it so much. The accents were bad, but they didn't talk like
Was that that
talk
one
that
with
much.
Jaden in it?
Who are you reading this quote
That's what
from?
Tammy said.
Ah.
Isn't that the Jaden Smith one?
Yeah, I think
Will
so.
Smith,
I still
Jaden
haven't
Smith?
seen that.
That movie sucked.
Okay, I got to tell you, one of the biggest turnoffs for me is bad accents. Dude, do not do a movie and do a bad
that was the
accent.
So
one where-
basically, any movie where Ben Affleck is trying to be anything other than some white guy.
I can't do it because I mess around with accents and stuff, and I'm not good at them, but I'm good enough to know when you're worse, and I just can't
Yeah,
do
that was
it.
the one where Will Smith was all like, you can't have any emotion, otherwise the monsters will see you.
What are you talking about?
That was the whole movie.
For
It was
After
like
Earth.
What
Will
movie?
After Earth.
After Earth.
Oh,
There was this
okay.
Will
All
Smith,
right.
Jaden Smith movie. He was
It was
like,
his coming out party.
he was like, trying to
Oh, that
launch
didn't
his
sound
son
right.
Yeah, that didn't sound right at all.
into becoming a
kind of
movie
accurate.
star. And he was like, yeah, it was all about, I don't know.
Yeah, and then after was that before or after Karate Kid? That was before, right?
Before.
So
Definitely
then they had to
before.
use Karate Kid, where they financed the entire flick and paid Jackie Chan ridiculous amounts of money to be in it with him. And then I remember when that movie came out, they that was when
Yeah, another remake
George-
I did not
yeah.
ever bother to see. Even Redbox couldn't get me to watch that movie.
was it George Lopez used to have his own show? Is that who it was?
Yeah, George Lopez.
He did an entire episode of his late night show just with that movie. And they said Jaden Smith can dance, and he went out there and shook his shoulders 3 times, and it was so sad to watch him pandering so hard to try to sell this movie. And he looked like he was literally pulling his own teeth out of his head trying to convince people that Jaden didn't suck.
He was getting paid.
Yeah, he was getting paid. I don't think he was on much longer after that.
Interesting.
Eric says, on average, we spend $70 for a family of 4 to go to the movies.
It's true, and that's before popcorn and soda. That was just parking and getting in the door.
Yeah,
No,
Speaking of
I don't think that
Have you
includes
guys been to
parking.
these new theaters now where you walk in and they actually have table side service?
Yeah,
They'll bring
they
you
come-
and you sit down in a chair and press a button and the thing reclines for you, and they actually have enough space in the rows where people can walk past you in the fully reclined position. Now,
think-
that's impressive. I gotta say.
It's nice that they can bring you a beer and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
I've never been to
It's
that.
cool. It's a cool concept, and I think it's wonderful. And I would go if somebody just made a movie worthy of me spending the money to watch.
Yeah, they're like, what, $40 for those tickets or something like that? But it comes with
No,
the meal.
they're not that bad. It's still, in
I
fact,
know,
you
I
can go to the
think they're about
matinees
40.
at $7 or $8.
No.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Oh yeah.
No.
I've done it. I've totally done it.
Like what? Tuesday
I
at
went and
10
saw
a.m.
the Cars movie at well, I did go on a Tuesday, yeah, but it was the matinee show.
It was
yeah.
at 10:30 though. It wasn't 10 a.m.
Probably. Hey, I got kids. It was summer vacation. We went to the movies. Anyway, I mean, that's pretty sad that the only creative original movies are animated, and even they are starting to get on the sequel bandwagon, and it's kind of, jumping the shark.
Yeah, people are just jumping on this thing. Like I saw a trailer for the new Insidious movie. They're making Insidious 4.
Wow.
I remember seeing the first one in the theaters a couple of years ago, and my wife punched a guy next to her because she got so scared.
Oh, nice. She punched somebody else because she got scared.
She's got a real fight or flight
Huh.
response when she gets scared.
Well,
And apparently it's more fight than flight.
well,
That
She
sounds
just
like fun.
lashed out and started punching guys.
it is time for us to be getting out of here. The show is drawn to a close. We hope you enjoyed this latest edition of Around Midnight. And remember to check us out all week long because we are always putting new material up there, or at least rehashing some of the old stuff, just because, we want to jump on the bandwagon that the rest of the entertainment industry uses.
Is that ironic?
Yeah, it is.
that
It is kind
irony?
of. But for all the guys, for the local boys, again, thanks for watching the show tonight. We want to remind you, please don't drink and drive.
We do?
And yeah,
When did we
and
start doing that?
we're starting to do that right now.
Awesome.
And remember that our disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed on this show are solely those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect or represent those of Mixified, its producers, staff, or sponsors.
Seriously?
All materials contained within the show are for entertainment purposes only.
Don't try this
and
at home.
should not be considered advice or instruction of any kind.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and if you watched the show last week, we were talking about disclaimers and why do we have to say this?
Because somebody's going to try this at home, and they're going to pull a muscle trying to run with these jokes.
That's true. I think I actually kind of pulled my arm out of the socket with one of those one-liners. Anyway, again, for the local boys, this has been Mixified's Around Midnight. Stay Mixified.